I have been squirreling around this house looking up anything I could find that basically nature has provided for us for really cool and really unique ways of divination. So join me today as we have some fun with an autumn theme divination. Autumn provides an abundance of natural items and symbols to enhance your divination practice. One of the funnest ones. Can you imagine, since we were kids, jumping in piles of leaves? Divination with leaf casting, leaf reading. You can do a little bit of leaf burning. Let's go over some ideas. Now, one way we could do, just going to grab some leaves here. Now I have 3 different type of leaves, and you could write your intention, your manifestation on them, and you can take them out and you can cast them into a wind. See which one gets carried away, or see which one floats down to the ground. See which one floats closest to you. Maybe that's your desire, that's your wish, or maybe it's the farthest one that's able to reach the farthest away. It is up to you. Just set your intention before doing that. Now, another way is different colors of leaves. So I have, like, let's say this orange one here. This one I may assign a certain meaning to bring on the sun. This red and orange, dominating the red, may mean something else to me. And I will use different leaves and different shapes, different sizes, and different ones that each one for their shape, size, and color could mean something different too. So casting that. I have some dried leaves. Now these are some fake leaves that I got, but I thought these ones would be fun to use all year round too if I wanted to, or just keep it in a little chest. Now, a few people, what they could do, not only you could write on the leaves, cast it in the wind, but you can write on your leaves and then burn it and then set that intention. So let's do one together. First, what I'd like to do, I have actually a Mabon candle. Before I light it, I'd like to scribe into it. Ooh, I should give a shout out here. I've actually had this Mabon candle. I got it. What are we, 2004? 2021, 2022 witch stock. I got this. Smells divine. Smells like the fall, which is really, really cool. And this candle is for balance, harvest, family, sharing, focus, and community. And it's handmade by Magical Elements out of Red Deer, Alberta. And I got this in my swag bag at Witchstock. So that was, every time I find the candle, it's like, oh, my bonus passed. I miss it and I have to wait till the next year. So this year I was like, oh, there's a perfect color. I'm just going to go upstairs and grab it. And I looked at it and I was reading. I'm like, oh no, it's for Beltane. I'm like, no, it's for Mabon. And I was like, yeah. So I'm really excited about this. So let's give it a little extra scribe here. Scribing in Mabon. And this, I think anytime I'm going to be casting or talking, I'm going to have a theme. And one is, it's my channel's anniversary. So I'm going to put September 23rd is when I launched the channel. And 22. Which coincidentally is my daughter's birthday as well. So that's a fun one. Her autumn equinox falls on her birthday once every 3 to 4 years or something like that. So what I would like to have is, I'm very, very grateful. So I'm going to write gratitude. Very, very grateful for what has come to me after some spells that I've rocked. So I want to have the gratitude for that. And I'm writing a little something for my daughter because her birthday also falls on this time of the year. And let's put that down here. Gratitude, the anniversary channel. You know what? I'm going to send some warm wishes to all my subscribers and all my viewers here as well. I need to smudge. I have this. Oh, I just got it at Pagan Pride Market yesterday. Oh, and it's well, it comes with a card. I'll pull this one out. And it comes with a card and it says Diana for gratitude, joy, and abundance. Oh, that's crazy. I love how that works out. I remembered the abundance on there. So we have the Diana card, and then on the back she has written a few other things. So she talks about Diana and her attributes. Look inside the Mother Goddess, triple deity for abundance, and then comes into connecting with Diana. And what is in this blend is frankincense for prosperity and psychic awareness, sandalwood powder for abundance, knowledge, connection to the higher realms, Herba Santa, speaking your truth, protects threat and heart chakra. Egyptian chamomile, prosperity, peace, healing, harmony, and relaxing. So this sounds like almost it's like a yummy blend. Too bad it wasn't for the resin. Excuse my noise. It put together. She has 2 coals that came with it that she gave. Let's put some on here on my coals here. I'm excited. Oh, I've never burned chamomile before. Some little pieces of resin. Some herb. Oh, I think I see some little frankincense resin in there. Oh, this blend smells amazing. I bought this one blend off her years ago. It was a goddess blend as well. She creates from these goddess oracle cards, and they're divine. The blends are just incredible. She's got such a knack for blends. She's definitely inspiring. Okay, with intention, burning herb, we have Diana helping us out here with my smudge blend that's coming in. So I'm just going to cleanse away the creator of, and let's write some intention on some leaves. So I have 3 different types of leaves here. I collected these in July, I believe, and I pressed them for my grimoire book, but I thought, how perfectly flat and ready are these? And they're dried out, and I have 3 different types that I could put 3 different intentions on. I have, this one's a tri-leaf. But let's start off with this little spade bit. So I'm just going to grab a Sharpie. You can grab whatever you like. I find a Sharpie works best because it doesn't puncture the leaves and scrape it up. And it stays pretty good. So it doesn't bleed out on it. It's actually, I love using a good Sharpie. I have one in my purse all the time too. It goes with me everywhere. What can I write upon? Okay. So, autumn theme divination. Different things you could do before writing your intention on a leaf is that you can meditate on the shape of each leaf. This leaf has 4 holes in it for some bugs. So maybe before I looked at my leaves, I could have asked a question as if there's an odd number of holes or an even number of holes, it would mean yes or no. And I could have asked a question. I'm like, okay, if there's an even number, yes or no, will I find love next month? Okay, no. Okay, no. But that's okay. Another things you could do is part of your divination, you can scatter the leaves by interpreting the pattern on the ground. So depending on how they drop on the ground, depending on how they fall, you may look out for shapes and sizes. You may look out for letters or runes or patterns or actually images you see, just like you would use cloud divination. Okay, so I'm very grateful for what I have right now. I don't need anything more. I'm really, really happy. So I just want to write thank you so much. Okay. So easy, just like writing a sigil. You can write anything you'd like on there. And I have my smudge pot here so I can drop my leaf, because this is going to catch fire right away. So either do outdoors, do with someone safe. And let's set off the intention of my gratitude to the gods, to the creator, to the universe, to spirit, to my guides, to my power animal, to my totems. Oh, that felt good. Okay, so acorns and nuts. Let's go to the next one. Acorns and nuts. I have some acorns here. I have some acorns falling on the ground here. So these little guys here, you can perform a simple yes or no divination. You could actually write a yes or no or write runes on there. Or you can assign meanings. So if it falls to the left, it means this. If it falls to the right, if it falls with the little hat up or upside down, you'd have 4 different meanings there. You can drop them and roll them and get your answer that way. You can, like I said, you can write on them when they're soft, so when they dry, you may have some really cool runes written in that way too. Now, another one you could use, I have, let's see here. I'm going to move this candle before I keep almost burning myself. I have some chestnuts here. Now you can get, these ones are hard now finally. I got these last fall, last winter time. And they're soft when I first got them. So I also could have carved runes and in symbols and anything I'd like into this. So when it dries, you'd also have a really cool thing. You can do that too. I would hit rose hips with that too. That one's a fun, you can carve messages or runes on the pod, the rose hip itself. Let it dry out and then you can see what would come out of the pattern afterwards, after it's all wrinkled out. So again, some fun stuff there. Now, some people use walnuts as well, depending on how you crack them, open them, depending on what the pattern you may find. Is when you crack them, you can just call out again. If it looks like this is going to be a yes. If it looks like that, that's going to be a no. You can crack open a nut after asking a question to reveal its message. A perfectly healthy nut indicates a positive outcome. Maybe a rotten one, you're not going to get your answer. Or it could mean like obstacles. It could mean something negative. It could mean something absolutely blocking your path. You know, it's rotten in Denmark. Now we have acorns, coming back to that. Sometimes acorns represent like strength and spiritual and growth. It's perfect for autumn divination. You can cast like a handful of them. You can mix all nuts. You can make a vegan divination casting with anything from rose hips to nuts to seeds to anything. Put them all in a bag, one of each. Assign a meeting to each one of these. Dig in your vegan bag, and then you can cast that as well. And depending on where they land, you could read the runes. You could read how it's cast. You can just, depending on how many of them touch together, how many of them are in a group. Okay, so I see the lotus seed with the rose hip hanging out with the little branch that I found, you know, in Nordegg. Oh, that means I got company coming in the next month. You know, it's just, you can have some fun, absolute fun with that. I have a list here. I have so much. So let's go through this together. Oh, yes. Pumpkin, squash, and gourds. My pumpkin's right over there. Give me one sec. Pumpkin divination. That's my first pumpkin of the season, and I got him for the soul factor. You can see it. Is for this stem. It's a great stem. It's like the perfect cartoon drawing of a stem that I would draw if I was drawing a pumpkin. Now, I couldn't find actually any gourds, real ones. So I have these little fake dudes just for props. But I was so hoping to find real gourds. I looked at so many stores, not even any market, farmers markets have them this year. But gourds, when I've grown them before back home on the island, and they have so many lines, so many little bumps and nooks and crannies, that for fun we used to draw them, and then we used to make up our own star constellations. But why couldn't you draw from bumpy to bumpy to bumpy and then draw a line and look for runes, look for bind runes, look for sigils in there, or create sigils. Say, I just connect the lines and this is what it's going to mean. Could be on how many stripes it has. So again, before you open up your pumpkin, think about a question and then count how many stripes. And again, the odd one would mean no, and even one mean yes. Cutting out the pumpkin and getting at the seeds. I have some seeds that I have. This is the last of it from last year. I can't believe I actually still have some, but we have some pumpkin seeds that are, these ones are the seasoned salt baked pumpkin seeds. Those ones are really fun too. You can do some divination with the seeds, such as casting them. You can bake them. Sometimes if you bake them, the seed pods will split. And again, you can write on the seed pods, and if it splits or not, will you get your manifestation? Will you get your intention? Will you get your wish? Will you get your question answered? Yes or no? Will it split or not? Seed scrying. What else we can do? We can toss them and read them in their arrangement. And you can do this with any type of seeds too. Now you can just toss them, see if it forms a little picture for you, see if you get runes and letters out of it again, once again. You can do counting the seeds. Depending on if it's in its 10s, 20s, 30s. Sometimes these pumpkins are getting less and less seeds nowadays. We won't get into that on Pagan Crafting why. But you can do, based on the numerology, you can assign yes or no answers to the clarity to different questions. Based off how you can count, even if you had over a triple digit seeds, count all the numbers together, add them all up, and rock some numerology with it too. Now with divination with pumpkins and gourds. I had no idea it takes a year for these little guys to dry. I just saw that on a friend's video, Star at the Wild Witch, and she had mentioned that you have to flip them once a day for a whole year, 365 times for these guys to dry, and you can make a rattle out of them. But you could also carve runes and symbols and words and different languages on here that you would like to use as a power word, inscribing word, and let it dry that way. That could be really, really cool. Again, with some symbols or pictorial pictures, that could be fun too. So let's get into some apple. I'm gonna hang out with my pumpkin for a while. He's pretty chill. Let's get into some apple peeling, or apple, what's it called? Pomomancy? Something like that. All right. So, old school. We used to do how many times you turn it, you get the alphabet letter, it's going to be the guy you have a crush on, or the next guy that's going to be your boyfriend, vice versa, girlfriend. Let's try it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, ooh, H, I, J, it's not working. I'm at K. I gotta use some of this here. It's K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, Q. I don't know anybody with the name Q. I'll just say like Quentin. It's a good name. Maybe I'll meet a Q Bert. I don't know, we'll find out. But that's one of them that you could do. With apples, you can cut them in half. And let's do that. Realize the star in between. Before I open it up, I should have, before I cut it, I should ask my question. Hang on a sec. Oh, I have new plans for my Patreon. Will it be a success? Odd numbers will say yes. All right. Even numbers are no. So, doop. Oh, gosh. I dropped one. 1, 2. Oh, my God, there's only 3. We only have 3 seeds. I'm going to put it in my tea. Boonk. Boonk. I lost another seed. Oh, there it is. Put them in my... And then, oh, there's no other seeds. Again, low on the seeds. What's happening in this universe? We're not allowed to feed ourselves. But then we have a nice star in the center. Do some stamping. Oh. I remember my mom told me the first time how you capture a star in an apple. Do you guys know that story? I bet some of you do. So when you're cutting an apple for, let's say, a snack, you're watching your little ones, or watching your nephews and nieces or cousins, but what you do is you slice the apple this way so you don't see the star. You serve up the apples and you say, do you know how to catch a star in an apple? We have to put it in the windowsill and you sleep with it. And you sleep there overnight. In the morning, we're going to open up the apple. We're going to see if you caught a star. And if you did, your wish came true. So make sure you make a wish that night. And then they don't know that you cut it this way the first time. So then you cut it to halfway, open it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have a star. Like, this one's so cool. This one's got like a burst around it. He's so excited. This is a shining star. This one would have been a good one to make a wish on. I got something in my eye. This one would have been a really good one to make a wish on. And their eyes and their amazement. It was so cool. My mom first did that for me. I'm like, oh my God, we got a star in an apple. Because I saw the other day when she had cut it, there was no star. So I knew she didn't lie to me. So that was awesome. So many different ways you could do too. You could rock and apple peeling as well. Now, apple peeling, I had to look it up. One of our subscribers said they used to do an apple peeling, and depending on how you peel the apple first, toss it over your shoulder, depending on how it falls, it could be a letter of your next beau or someone you're going to marry. So I would take this peel, toss it, see how it lands. Oh. All right, I got the letter P. That was an accident. I dropped it. I was like, let's just see what happens. Maybe I'll meet a Peter. That stuff smells so good. Let's put some more on. So another thing we could do, not only the apple peel, one long strip, throw the peel over your shoulder. Interpret the shape it lands on. Some traditions, it can form the initial lover's name, or it could be the lover's like first initial to their name. I want to find some more resin bits. I love frankincense. Okay, we have pine cone casting as our next one. Very similar to bone casting. Pine cones, you're going to throw them out depending on how they lay, like this one here, this one compared to, I have some that are open, some that are closed, so it depends on how they lay. It looks like this one's starting to open. I was hoping it was going to stay closed, but we'll see. So depending on how they land, which direction they point, their alignment, how they touch each other, you again assign meanings, or again if the scales are open or closed, what does that mean to you? You can also have a casting cloth or casting chart. You can do a quick north, south, east, west, like a little pie chart, depending on which land. Okay, it's going to land in the winter, so in the next 3 months, this pine cone could come true, whatever you assign the meaning for that one. So some other methods that you could use with pine cones, like I gathered some larger ones today, and you can find some smaller ones, attach a string. You could use a larger one too, of course, but depending on what you want to do, whether you want to hang it outside or just use it indoors, you could attach a string to this and use it like a pendulum. Another thing you could do is assign your question or your manifestation to the cone and use some fire scrying. So it depends on how it like crackles, how it pops. And these ones almost sing sometimes too. So depend if it's going to make some sounds. See what kind of messages that you receive in the flames. Now we have is autumn flowers. Let me grab some. I'm going to put down my pumpkin. Let me grab some flowers. So we have autumn flowers. Do you remember the forget-me-nots? Or just the simple daisies? He loves me not. He loves me not. That's divination, baby. That's the simple one. So pulling out one petal at a time until you receive whichever's last is your answer. So petal divination. Dried flower reading, you can cut the flowers out like I have here. What I've used here is, these are sunflower petals. I have a double-headed sunflower in here I don't want to take out, but I've kept all my sunflower petals from 2022 when I had my bee sanctuary. And I use this in my happiness salt that I make, and other things for divination, success, add some sun magic at 100% right there. So you could also take and cast. You can cast flower petals. You can cast dried flower petals. Again, see how they lay. What happens with that? Now we're getting into corn husks. This one I got at a celebration of Hecate. So I have that. I'm not going to do what needs to be done to use the kernels. I would take two together, rub them, and get my kernels and get my readings from that. But this one's special. I don't want to let go of this one. I have some wheat here. Now with kernels and grains and corn husks and corn kernels, you can use them to represent different aspects of your life. So each grain would mean something different as well. You could assign the meanings for different outcomes for each of your family members, for abundance, for work. This is more folk magic. This is some farmer traditions. Assign a symbol or a meaning to each kernel. Toss them on a map. And see where they lay. You could also use some wheat divination where you can actually toss it on a map of your land and see where you should plant the wheat this year. That's some old silly superstition stuff, because you definitely want to be rotating the crops as need be, from barley to wheat to canola. But this one is fun because you can also take the wheat tops and just rub them in your hands and see how, and then as you ask your question, stop, count your kernels, count your wheat seeds, and find your answer once again. Would be autumnal flowers, or would one be, you could collect different autumnal flowers, and each color, you could assign the meanings by color, or you can look up the meanings, the spiritual, the magical use of each flower too. So as you pull that one petal out, that could be your insight of what to answer your question, much like getting a tarot oracle card. So another ones that are good is chrysanthemums, marigolds, sunflowers, or of course the iconic autumnal flowers. You can pick them and ask a question similar to the classic Loves Me, Loves Me Not. So those ones are really good ones, same as the daisies. Now everything I'm reading today, so we have apple seeds, we have acorns, we have, what do I have, some more nuts here, some chestnuts here, the pumpkin seeds. Everything I'm going to cover here today, some flower petals, whatever. Throw one of each in a bag. Even everything we're covering today, throw one of each, and then each one will have that absolute purpose. So ask a question, dig in your bag, pull it out. What do you get? Do you get a stick? Do you get a feather? Do you get a seed? Why? What does it mean? Let's get your answer. Different things like seeds and grains could represent harvest, abundance, gratitude. So you can assign certain things like that to it. Autumn crystals. Oh, I've been waiting to do this one. Now what I have here is a box of crystals I love pulling from. So anybody that buys anything off me from Pagan Crafting on the Etsy store knows they get a gift in the mail. So I always have, depending on the size of the crystals, you get anywhere between 1 to 3 crystals. If they're smaller, I want to give you at least 3. But most of the time we get some 2 or some good sized ones. Now, it's funny, I've only had one person ask what crystal means, so I was like, I figured if you know your crystals, if not, give me a shout, ask me, I will tell you what it means. But I pull intuitively for each person. So I thought this would be kind of a cool box that I could go through and find some autumn colored crystals. So I have some carnelian, and I'm gonna have to look up this mustard yellow guy, but I got a couple here. Some aventurine, some green, and some moss colored. This is like a moss and a jasper. We'll put that one there too. I have another orange stone. And ooh, mookite. I know what that one is. It's like a mustard yellow with veins of burgundy running through it. Of course, some cat's eye needs to be in there. Nice big chunk there. Now you could do a fun divination with that too. I don't have any black crystals in there right now. We'll have to come back to that. So you can put all those crystals in a little bag, and again assign what the magical meaning or just the color meaning of each one. Ask your question, pull out your answer. Crystal scrying is like using the colors of amber, citrine, carnelian, jasper. You can meditate on them. You can contact each energy of each crystal. When you're in meditation, you can ask what it needs to do. You can help program it. You can also cast these crystals like stones or bones. So if you have a casting chart, or if you can download one off the internet. You can even just cast them in your four corners. So make your pie chart again, and each one is 3 months. Each month is 3. So depending on where your stones cast and what they mean is what could happen in that time. Look at grouping, same as when you're dealing with bones and runes. So speaking of bones and runes, we got a few things we could use. What could we use for runes? Runes made from wood or acorns. So I have some wood pieces here. These are just slivered pieces, very thin. You could also write the runes on your acorns. And I thought, why not use some garlic? I thought some garlic divination is part of the harvest, part of this time of the year. Again, depending on how many cloves are in your bulb, will give you your yes or your no answer. So another thing that you can do is mushroom divination. I have, excuse my Amazon box, but I have a box full of mushrooms. They're so cute. Look at this little honey mushroom. Yay. I got some shaggy mane. I got some horse hooves, some polypores. Some little horse hooves. And then what you could do, you could just mix up your box. Pull out a mushroom, grab a mushroom book, Common Mushrooms of the Northwest, because I collected these all here out west. And then you look up your mushroom, honey mushroom. There's the first one I pulled out. And then you could look up the attributes, if there's a little caution. Are they edible? Are they poisonous? If you find out they're poisonous, that could be a negative. If you find out they're edible, that could be a positive answer. Or you can look up the attributes, the description of the mushroom, what it's good for, what the healing properties are good for. If it is a medicinal mushroom, look up the characteristics. I have a video coming up soon, and it is mushroom astrology. Yes, my friends, mushroom astrology. I'm doing, I can't tell you anymore, but I'm doing a fun video from one of my grimoire pages. So we'll have some fun with mushrooms there too. All right. Now your autumn rune layout, it could be anything from seeds to crystals to nuts to pieces of wood to slices of little wood cookies to, of course, you can have your seeds. Oh, I'm dropping them from your larger pumpkin seeds. You can create a really cool touch of autumn to your reading by combining different just fun colors. Even if you want to color match all the fun autumn leaves, man. So a different way that you can rock runes with nature is using anything from fallen trees and branches. Different trees mean different things. Same as the Ogam series. With each tree means something different. So you can carve maybe the Ogam rune into it. You can carve any symbols that you would like, something magical that you would like in there, sigils. You can cast them in a traditional way of rune reading. But each different branch, each different thing you find in the forest could mean something different to you. Now you can put them all in a bag and you can use the earth to charge your natural items. You could also not put it in a bag and see how, if you want to do some long-term divination, plant them in the fall equinox, unbury them, like take them out of the earth in springtime in Astara, so half a year later, and see how it has rotted or disintegrated some of your runes, see what has canceled out, see what's still there, see what has created more. Maybe there's some worms have gotten into it, added to your messages. You know, you could have a lot of fun with the earth. Now, autumn fire scrying. I don't have a fire right now, so I'm going to use a candle. Flame scrying, it's fun and it's easy and it can tell you so many stories. Excuse my dog snoring in the background. I've been trying to wake her up, but I feel bad. She's old. You can receive different messages, different symbols in the flame. You will receive different visions, different answers. Now you could use a whole bonfire, a flame, a fire ring, a candle. You could use fire ash divination as well. After a fire, you may scrape out all the ashes, the same as your smudge pot. You could use that. So I've been putting in, I first started off camera, it was a resin, an amber resin, and it's just for cleansing, purification, and protection. And it's just, I just needed to smudge away the weekend. I was very busy, so I just wanted to get rid of that. Fire ash divination. You can use it as blowing it into the wind, see how it lands. You can see how the different pieces of coal would land. Again, you can interpret that in your symbols and messages and for shapes and guidances that you could receive out of it. Autumn moon divination. Gathering the hunter's moon, maybe the harvest moon, the blood moon. Fill this water with your moon water. Scry in it. What do you see? It's much like using a black mirror, but cooler, because you have the moon water that is charged up with the intention of that phase. Gaze into the surfaces for, again, visions, for reflections. Sometimes you can read some past life. I like using my black mirror for past life regression. I love finding out past lives with my black bowl with my moon water, but I like using my black mirror for that. Now, another thing you could use is taking a dried leaf, and depending on how the leaves fall, much unlike tea leaves, but they're floating on the surface of the water, and I see a woman's face. perfectly with the hair that is wild. I have a friend coming to visit me this next weekend. She's got some wild mane hair. I usually don't have people come over to my house. I'm kind of an introvert. It's kind of weird that way. Unless I'm having art classes. But that's cool. I'm like, wild hair, women coming my way is what I kind of thought. That was cool. And I do have a guest coming over next Sunday after my guild meeting. Cool. I want to like play with the leaves right now. Okay, focus. Divination with autumn leaves. So again, depending on how they feel, how they fall, how they land, how they touch each other, how they group, that's up to your interpretation. That is your own. Animal bones and feathers is another one, as well as antlers. But I have a mess of feathers here, and some of them are found. Some of them are been found from a friend, and she gave to me. There's anything from like turkey to goose. Who knows if that could be that one? Some geese in that one, and this one I thought was an owl feather. I was so excited, and I forgot that I collected it in my friend's barn. It's chicken feather, but it's pretty. So I had this for a while, and I was like showing my friend about all my feathers. She's like, "Oh, you got one of my chicken feathers." I'm like, "Oh, really? I thought it was an owl." I'm so excited. But feather divination. Collect your feathers during your walks. They're everywhere. It's little messages. The Christians believe that every time you see a feather in front of them, it's a message from an angel. I think that's really lovely. Messages from the gods, messages from a fallen loved one who's no longer with us. If we find a feather in your path, I pick up feathers all the time. I have so many. It's really cool to also pick them up from migratory birds, because that has a little extra, like the Canada goose. Like they take off during the winter here. We have, I'm not sure what this one is. I know that one's turkey. That one was given to me. We don't have turkey here in Canada, so that one was definitely given to me by a friend of hers, a hunter friend of mine. So you can interpret their colors, you can interpret their patterns, the direction of the patterns, which way is it going, the pictures that are created. I see an owl in this feather, even though it's not an owl feather, but now I'm looking at it and I see a perfect little beak. Depending on how many dots are on the turkey feathers, or again, you can use some numerology. Now, as you collect feathers along your path, you can interpret anything from how you found it, the position it was laying when you found it. Was it curled up? Was it down? Was it stuck in the ground? Some cool ones you find like straight up and down. I got a lot of magpie feathers that are just like drop like a bullet, like a little dart. So I think that's unusual to find them standing like straight up and down. So that could mean something different to you. For me, that was just a wake up. It's an omen. It's there. It's like, come on. Okay, so bones and animal symbols. So you could do anything from, especially around Samhain, the bones could represent a form of transformation. I wish I had some bones with me here. I am in the presence of cleaning some right now. So they're in a jar being water peroxided. I wish I had some to show you. So with your bones and antlers, when you find them, depending on, like, antlers are really, really cool because it's like the shedding of old ways too. And there's bumps and nooks and crannies, and there's, depending on how many points on an antler, could mean something different to you as well. There's bumps and ridges along the edges that hold. I use mine for smudge pots. I have some on my altar. You can cut them. I make jewelry out of them. You could also make a beautiful rune set out of antlers. That would be gorgeous. I need to do that. I just got to get rid of my fear using my miter saw and antlers because it's not exactly straight. I need to find someone to do that for me because I'm just a little nervous to do that, but it'll happen one day. So bone divination, gather them, find them if you're in the city. source them ethically. Make sure, like, I like buying off of trappers that I know, hunters, because they find them. Hunters look, and they're tracking all the time. That's where I get some of my feathers from, is my hunter's friend. They know I collect this. They know I do a lot of crafts. They know I love making dream catchers. So they share feathers with me. And you can also, some people just go in the forest in the winter or the fall time and look for antlers. There's like, that's great it's great for the dogs to chew too. And now, what's another one we could do? Well, we did apples. We haven't done pomegranates. All right, so we have autumn fruits. We went over the apple. I have a pear here as well. You could also use for like a seed divination too. Now, pomegranates symbolizing fertility, the underworld. It's this time of the year for me. It can be used in divination. You can count the seeds. You can open her up. You can quarter them. You can see how many are in each quarter, again, for the different winds, if you'd like. It represents the powerful symbols of the cycles of the death and the underworld. You can arrange the seeds much like doing a crystal grid. You can do a pomegranate grid. I used to do those. I haven't done one in a long time. That'd be fun to do. You could also cast the seeds and interpret their arrangement. See what visions or pictures that you get. Autumn wind divination. Oh, depending on, like, I find, what was it? Is it alder? I know for sure birch, but they're some of the best singers. Oh, they sing some great songs. Now, using wind divination, you can practice aromancy. And aromancy is the art of divination with the wind. Pay attention to the different strengths of the wind, the direction of the wind. Oh, I need to get another. Oh, there's a resin piece. The sound of the wind. Who's singing with the wind? Birch trees, again, are amazing singers, how they rattle and sing their leaves. You can ask a question and wait for a gust or time. You know, when you get the gusts of winds, you can almost time. Ask a question between each one and watch the leaves, watch the branches. Which way do they go? Which way could be your answer? Set intention before asking. Now we went over the moon water divination. We touched lately on the scrying mirrors. You could use a blank scrying mirror, like a black one, or even just some glass and paint it black on one side. You can do that with a frame of a picture as well. You can actually just buy a cheap frame, paint the one side black, spray paint it, or you can paint with a paintbrush. You'll see streaks, but I like just the spray paint. And you could use that. Now, isn't that divine for the time when the veil gets the thinnest during Samhain? It's a potent time for spirit communication and connection. So using my moon water, my black bowl, or my black mirror allows you to see visions and messages that are from beyond the veil. Now, autumn herbs. Autumn herbs could be much like I've actually been enjoying my tea here. Now, I did start off with, I have some lavender and some green tea. I could add some chamomile in here. That would be harvested this time of the year too. My lavender I harvested from my garden this time of the year. I had like one little teeny tiny plant, so I'm just enjoying as much as I can. Now, one thing that'd be really cool to use is you could use mugwort. I get from where I am is about mid to late August for harvesting. You can harvest it a little bit later, but it starts getting not as potent. It's getting a little wilted because it gets colder. Mugwort, you could use it, burn it. It enhances a dreamlike state. It's good for dream work. I'm trying to remember it all. Don't burn mugwort around a pregnant mama, and don't give her tea with mugwort in it. Someone who wants to get pregnant, is pregnant or breastfeeding, should not be around the burning of mugwort nor drink it. It can cause miscarriage and it can cause problems. So just a little warning bell on that one. Now another one, I have my mugwort. Let's put a little bit of mugwort in. Sage, and I have some sage that, if you noticed on my last foraging video, I got this from Drumheller. This is not California white sage. This is Alberta buffalo white sage. Sage is good for cleansing, protection, cleanses the area from bad spirits, bad mojo, cleanses and starts your day. It's used for really, I love using it for divination, especially with the smoke divination. What can you get? What can you see? Copal. I know that's from Mexico, but if you want to see spirits, you want to see stuff in your, you want to see crazy spirits and you want to see some ancestors, use some copal, man. I see, since I first saw it when I was in Mexico, we were near these temples and this priestess was using it, and wow, even in the pictures later, after we took the pictures, when we looked at them later, you can see faces everywhere in the smoke. It is so cool. Rosemary, where's my rosemary? I got a little bit left. Now rosemary is really good. It's a focus, it's a calming, it's a memory enhancer. It's really good for ADHD people. It actually helped me out through my PTSD I had a number of years ago. So it really helped with my memory and whatnot, working on that. Now rosemary enhances ancestral energy as well. Rosemary is also a protection. You could burn it during, if you want to contact some spirits, you want some extra protection, this would be a good one to use too. Let's throw some down here. It's like, I got this from my friend Lise. She grew this rosemary in her yard. So coming to another one here, there's some lavender. Lavender's a calming, it's a cozy feeling. It's like chamomile. It just gives you that comfort feeling, especially around autumn time. I have rose hips here. Now these ones I didn't get a chance to carve any runes or any symbols into them, but I just absolutely enjoy them in spells in my tea. Great for love enhancements. That's some good Venus energy right there. Now I have a couple things that I've done here before too, and I've gotten some birch bark, and I simply, what you could do is you could carve different symbols you like. Here I have some antlers for shedding, a little mushroom for the librarians, I got a tree for shedding, I got the fall equinox symbol right here, and you can just cut them out of your birch bark, put them in a little pouch with your casting, and find out all kinds of goodies. Now you'll have deeper connections and different connections with different objects. But like you've noticed here, almost everything here, I'm telling stories. I'm telling something. I remember when I got this. I know what that's for. I remember when my mom showed me this. Like, it's just the reason why I'm not saying this means this. It's you write down, you assign your meanings to what everything is. If you do absolutely need some ideas, I'm going to throw up here a video to, I think we called it Raven. It's like Magpie Oracle, but I call it Raven Oracle because we got more ravens around here that collect shiny things. So I made a divination casting cloth, and I have tons of ideas that go with that. I'm also going to I'll put in the link below that video, the description, and another video we did for shell divination. So each shell would mean something different, and I did have some ideas for that. So this is about your adventures, your searching, your walks. What do you find? What falls in your path? What omens, what signs, what symbols? What would you use in autumn that you would connect deeply with? I'm just looking at all this fun stuff around here, and you know what? If you made it this far, comment down below a leaf emoji and tell me what I missed. What would you use in autumn that you could find that would be super, super rad that I'd miss? Because I came up with as many ideas and researched as many ideas as I possibly could. And I had an absolute blast making this for you. Well, thanks so very much for chilling out with me today. I'm going to have some wildfire flower tea. And then I'm going to read these beautiful little purple leaves. After I finish drinking my tea, I'm going to read it like a tea divination and see what I get. Thanks very much, and have yourself an absolutely magical equinox.